In this video, we're going to take another run at, even though the last one was very successful, at creating a website with Claude Code, Feud Studio, and GenCSS, and we're going to do it in under 30 minutes. Now, I don't have loads of information about this potential client because I'm literally stalking businesses on Facebook, grabbing a few images, grabbing a bit of information, and then seeing just how much this combination of tools can do to create an SEO and lead generation worthy website. Now, the point I'm trying to make here is that I am really pulling away from the mess and the time-consuming heavy load that is WordPress. And whatever way you want to work with WordPress, even if it is utilizing AI tools, it's never going to be as productive, as fast, as secure as working with Claude Code and creating more static or Astro sites. And this tech stack, Claude Code, Feud Studio, and GenCSS, does that. It creates fast, snappy Astro sites. They're secure. They're, as I've said, fast as hell. They're easier to maintain. And the process by which we can create them is a lot faster. So let's stop all the yapping. We're going to pop to Dave's Drains in Torbay. This is a local, and I don't know Dave. I don't know this business. I saw it again on a local business group, and quite honestly, I just thought he looks like quite a character. The photos and everything here are just very loud. He's got very brash sort of marketing that seems quite AI influenced. And yeah, I just thought there's a lot of character here to really put Claude, Feud, and GenCSS through the paces. So that's what we're going to do. And aside from little bits of snippets of information, I really don't know anything more about this. My point really is that, to be honest, onboarding clients, getting their business ambitions, all of the information and the content can be one of the most ball achy parts of a project. And actually what this is really about is creating a website that's awesome and does a job. I'm quite fed up of taking 1 to 2 months back and forth with clients trying to, get the content together and everything to start marketing and start working. Right, okay, so just to say, this is the site that was created last time. See the previous video. I think this is a great website. If anyone is critical of it, it needs some work before going to client and everything like that. This is a first 26-minute run at this project, and I would argue that it's way better than a lot of websites that get shipped out. We're going to start up a new project. It's going to be Astro. Demo projects. I've got Dave's Drains here. This is going to be the project folder, so I'll give that over to Feud, and we want it to be an Astro site. Feud has a one-click install for Astro. Now, the workflow for this is that we create the Astro project. We then need to resource AI with things like the content, so the images, any information that we have, like text, and a brief web design brief, as that happens to work. Once we've done that, we give it the CSS framework provided by GenCSS, and then we will produce a highly professional, in terms of its standards, web dev standard website. And we're running on 4322. Why? I've got something else open somewhere, so I'm on a different... There we are. Okay, so we've got the Astro project all created. Happy days. We now need to give some resources. Folder styles, and then in there we're going to put a file called globals.css. Okay, all done. Now let's hook up to that with GenCSS. So connect existing file. Now when we next open Feud on this project, it will all remain hooked up there anyway. Let's grab a color. Obviously primary is going to be blue, so let's leave that as blue, but we'll make it a bit more... No, all right, we'll leave that as that. I think that a primary action color, yeah, that's yellow, isn't it? So accent is yellow, and because it's all tokenized anyway, we can change this later on, not a problem. Okay, so push to file. Let's just connect this one up. Goodie-o. Let's quickly pop to assets, and I would like to make an images folder. So Dave's drains. Now all I've done is literally gone and grabbed a before and an after, and then I asked Gemini to fill out the picture to a 16:9. I've got an AI image of a drain unblock. I've got one logo. I've got the pressure wash image there by AI, and then I've got these flyers and a bit of information. Oh, and one of Dave, and then another service image there. And all I want to do is put those into the project folder. Okay, so in with images. Good. I've resourced everything aside from setting up some prompts. I really should add a all toggled on, but we want all of it. And since yesterday's one, I've also updated Feud with an improved prompt for the Astro components. Right, okay, now let's get Claude involved. So my workflow really is 10-80-10, right? This is the 10% where we set everything up. We resource AI, we constrain AI with the prompts there, and now we've got all the content there, and now we have to get AI Claude involved. Okay, first of all, let's pop here. I have this text to give it, which isn't much at all. It's a bit tougher with Dave's drains. There's not much information at all, but I do have Push HQ does have a whisper flow type of thing. Oh. And I'm just going to quickly speak out a web design brief. This is Dave's drains. Obviously, you can see from the provided flyers and information that there's quite a wacky design style, and I would like this to be really maintained. I don't want to go conventional brochure style, as long as we're maintaining proper semantics and accessibility and SEO. I want the design to be really fun, very much depicted as depicted on the flyers that you can see there. So let's make sure that it's really, this website is not so brochure conventional, but is pulling out the brand character here. We need a responsive navigation at the top, then a hero section, then we'll have a trust section. This will be followed by some about information about the business, and that will be followed by a services section that will have at least 3 services. There are images provided for those, and then any other services will be listed alongside or beneath so that people know about the full range. After that, we've got one review that we can use, so place that in a nice featured area and make it quite fun. We've got an image of Dave as well, although that might need some attention and cropping. All of that ends up is finished in a really nice, fun call to action, and that's about it. Again, likewise, as I've mentioned, keep it fun. I'm not opposed to quite a bit of animation and being quite unconventional here. So let's make this a really fun, branded, interactive site. Get the inspiration from the flyers and let's go for it. Okay, cool. It's weird. I feel like I was speaking for a lot longer than that. Okay, back to Feud. We've given everything, and it's hard to believe that we're actually ready to go. Make sure you check Feud prompt. It always does, but I just want to make sure. Right, let's do that. Well, shit. I mean, come on. That is not a Claude site. Dave and his drains. Oh, that suits his energy. How cute. Like, this is funny. This is cool. I mean, he's clearly got one hell of a personality. Now that I like. Oh, what have we got here? Compound. I won't reload until it's all finished, but God. Okay. Okay, so there was a really fair comment by I can't remember his name, but let me go to the video. On my last video, all right, where I made this site using this exact method, by the way, there was T Ribbet. I think his name's Tony because I had a little snoop at his work, and it's a good starting point, but still a way to go. Be good to see how you finish the design and styling CMS. Yeah, that's cool. We'll integrate some sanity before handing it off to the client as a finished site. Okay, so it's a fair comment. Now, what I've been saying, obviously, is 10, 80, 10, all right? So this site here, I'm not going to do it without any direction from the client or anything. You know, could that be amped up a little bit, refined somewhat? Yes, of course. I want this to be more gold and to suit that initial branding flyer that I put in. You can see that on the logo. So there could be a little bit more whoosh or whatever, right? But the point is, what is someone willing to pay for? I like making websites. I like designing websites. I like doing that in graphics packages. I'm very happy doing that. And then, getting all ambitious. I work with this really fantastic designer called Shona. Anyway, her designs are so loud and they're fantastic, and they're always a pain in the ass to actually get onto, into bricks or onto breakdowns, whatever we're building with. But her designs are just so free, right? And I have to get that into code or into a builder. Always been a fantastic challenge. I'd like to actually showcase some of the sites we've done. And talk about them and their difficulties and the pros and cons of how I put them together. Anyway, what I'm saying is that, to go design first, like this guy as well also commented, great if your goal is to remove all the joy out of web design. And whilst I'm reading that a bit all right, Clive, it's all right, fair enough. What is the joy of web design? Well, it's the design part, all right? This process is about streamlining the development part, being AI assisted, not vibe coded, okay? That is what Feud Studio with Claude Code achieves. It's streamlining the development part. If you want to sweat over the code and handwrite it, then great, fine, have a blast, but you're going to fall behind the competition, right? You're going to fall behind the competition. My point is, okay, I saw these comments and I was like, all right, fine. All right, we want to do something a bit more Shonagal. Okay, and this is that sort of thing, all right? Nobody's going to look at this and go, that's a Claude site. What are we doing now? Just allow Claude to do whatever he wants at this point. All right, some bits to fix. Fine, that's the 10%. But who is going to go, that's pants? We've got the animations and everything. Sorry, I've got to. This is all in real time. I wanted to do this live, but then videos get too long, don't they? Oh yeah, go for it. Yeah, go. Just press 2. Remember, we just need to let this finalize, and then have a good little snoop at this. And then, as awesome as it is that Feud Studio has, where we have a live preview, we have a browser window. VS Code doesn't have that. We can always take this to the browser as well and take a little peek. I mean, let's be honest. To do a custom site like this with all of the animations, all the bubbles, this is big bucks, right? This is big bucks. I'm going to stop talking so I can just cut to when everything's done. Okay, so Claude has finished up. I'm about to show you the site. I've done one more prompt afterwards, part of that 10% process to just refine a couple of bits. So a bit of bits that were wibbly or wobbly, and maybe there's some more to go. Now, before we have a look at this site, because I think that this is all about discussion and people really understanding where they sit with all of this, I mentioned a comment from someone called Clive earlier, and it was a fair comment, and there was another comment after that from SatStacker, and I just want to draw attention to it because it really does hit the nail on the head as far as I'm concerned, and this is why I made this video with a different type of design in mind. Okay, so Clive said, great, if your goal is to remove all the joy out of the web design, and I understand where that's all sitting, but then we have I said it's more efficient. There's nothing stopping visual first design. That's what I was trying to say with the Shona stuff. Her designs are just, I feel like I could do justice to her designs and do it very quickly. If she gives me the visuals, there's no holding us back. Astro is a lot more versatile than the builders in WordPress. And so I've said there's nothing stopping visual first design, ensuring that's present in the design system, and then having this process provide a more efficient initial build. And I mean initial, meaning that 80%, and then you're able to further refine in the 10%, do revisions, but it's workable code. It's not Tailwind and Claude Code just making a mess in the background, and then you're relying on further Claude prompts, which only gets messier. The first Gen CSS website just drifted so much with Claude Code prompts because I did it as a fast job, and it just wasn't as good, and I couldn't edit it myself, right? So that's kind of what I'm trying to say here. And then I've asked Clive, what do you use? I don't know if he's a WordPress person or not, and what joy are you guarding? Like, what is it that you're protecting? And SatStacker actually responds very well here and puts some things very, very well. First off, calls me out. It's more efficient isn't really an answer to this removes joy, although it depends on what Clive is meaning. There's a guy, I can't remember his name. He was a coder guy, and he's just done a video which I watched today, and he's a coder that just loves to code, and he wants to be in that instead of AI. So maybe that is the joy. But you can both be right. Efficiency going up doesn't mean Clive's experience got better. Cool. But the distinction I draw is between deciding and executing. Hand coding your fourth navbar of the month isn't craft, it's repetition. And it's handing that off costs you nothing. And that's a good point. That's why we use templates. That's why we try and refine the process and have those cookie cutter bits that we can then modify and refine. So that's why a lot of people work from templates, or even when you're coding, you have snippets. Feud Studio itself has lots of inserts, and you type a dash and type in something, and it prints out a bit of CSS that you don't want to write for the 100th time, and that is efficiency. But choosing proportions, deciding what gets emphasis, visual hierarchy, information architecture, noticing when something feels off, that's the part worth guarding. And nothing about this workflow takes it from you. Design visually first, so Shona can give me a visual and I'll be like, yep, let's make that come to life. Then let AI handle the build. And that is put very, very well. That's what I'm trying to achieve here. You get to choose where that line sits, and that line does sit on that 80, but when that is actually the 90% mark. After that 80%, you just get an initial build from Claude, and that can be what you take to the client first off, like a visual used to be, and be like, client, what do you think of this? So that was really, really well put. I just think this explains everything that this video is trying to do very quickly. Right, cool. So one more prompt since it finished and you guys saw it, and this is Dave's Drains. It's a fantastic custom-made site. I've got to say, if the client said, can I have some floating bubbles, I would have to be like, yeah, I'll scope in some exploration time on that, because I've never done that. So I'm really stoked with all of this. I think it's really cool. There's a lot about this that's just fun. It fits the brief. If this kind of, that brief that I gave to Claude in the beginning, if the client had given that to me and then I brought this to the client, I have a feeling that this would be like, hey, 90% there, maybe with some revisions. But look at how fun all of this is. And I literally, you saw the workflow. All right, I haven't done much more on this at all. 2 prompts and using this system. I even love this. That was just, it's just kind of funny, and that's what Dave seems to, be funny and approachable. So yeah, really, really happy with this. I think I would put a form on there, but I didn't say that in the brief, so fair enough. This is a call to action. I would put a form there. That will be the next thing. And we've got the opportunity to put on extra pages, which would be SEO gold. Now, this is all built with components. Okay, so if we have a quick look at the code, I'll just look in the index page, right? You can see that all of this is built out with Astro components, and we've got the prompts there. Okay, that means that all of this can be built. We can build the extra pages with all of these funky little, with this character. All right, this can be taken to other pages, and it's all tokenized, one source of truth. Now, here's the thing, right? When the AI bubble bursts and nobody can afford any more tokens, right, and the oceans have boiled over because they're trying to. Well, anyway, that's what I've heard. Right, so when all of that, when the bubble bursts, there are going to be a lot of people that made loads of AI sites that can't go in there and edit them, that can't go in there and update them, because it's all made with messy Tailwind, and they'll literally have to do it all over again with best web development practices, using BEM, using whatever system you want to use, but making sure there's one source of truth, making sure it's not all just Tailwind and random sections here, there, and everywhere. All right, sites made like this, whatever you think of design first, or just getting Claude to design it from a brief, sites made like this, you can edit them. All right, you can get Claude to go and make edits if you want, or add different pages. It will always observe the rules on building and componentizing them, and you can of course do that. But you know, the point is that these are usable, editable sites made with good code, and with, you know, it's something you can hand over to a developer. More importantly, this will all work well with Sanity, and you can have a CMS with this and create more pages. So just to round this off, this isn't meant to take the joy out of web design. It's not meant to remove the purpose of web design, which is to make branded, unique sites. But you know, however you decide to do it, whether you want to make a visual first or you want to work with a brief and some visual elements, these are all legitimate ways that people make websites today in things like WordPress. But these are two sites that came from branded client elements, the type that get provided to us. And all in all, these sites have had less than 5 hours work done on them. Now, wherever you think the finish point is for these, you know, wherever you think, you know, is it worthy to go to a client, I'm going to you know, stand on the ground here that these are, whatever you think of the visual design, they are worthwhile, in, you know, that they are ready for work. Okay, and to be honest, that's where I'm kind of sitting on this. These are branded, beautiful, fun, business suitable sites, and they are ready to go out there and do the work for the client, bring in the leads, get that SEO ranking. And I think that, you know, being able to do that in a shorter amount of time and then start working on the site, you can even refine it as you go. So that's where I'm sitting on that. Again, this stack was very much Claude doing 80% of the work, and it was about resourcing it with that 10% and then refining it afterwards. This is 2 prompts of work for a really unique, non-Claude looking site. I think it's absolutely fantastic, and I think it's exciting, and I think it's the way to be efficient and creative and move forward with what we can offer to clients. So I'll leave you with that, and thank you for your time. Thank you for the comments. Please do discuss this. Let me know what you're thinking on all of this. And if you're interested in Feud Studio and Gen CSS, see the description below. Very interested in discussion, so do keep that coming along. And thank you for those who have commented before. It really does help to be able to feed off that, see where the discussion is lying, and or laying, and work off that. Okay, like, subscribe, share, and comment below, and have yourselves a good day. Bye-bye.